always thought my grandmother was just a little lonely. She lived alone in that small house at the edge of town, the kind of place where the mailbox leaned slightly and the porch light flickered sometimes at night. I never understood why she kept a chair by the window, facing the street. It wasn't until I was 12 that I asked her, "Why do you always sit there, Grandma?" She looked at me, smiled softly, and said nothing for a long time. Then she whispered, "I'm waiting for him." I didn't understand. "Who?" I asked. "My husband," she said, touching the locket around her neck. He never came back from the war." I was too young to understand the weight of her words. War was something I only saw in books, on TV, or in stories that adults whispered about. But for her, it was every day, every Sunday, every night, every quiet moment of her life. She told me stories about him, how he loved to whistle when he cooked, how he always carried a notebook full of poems, how he promised her the stars, even though he never had the chance to buy her jewellery or fancy things. After dinner every Sunday, she would sit by the window, and every Sunday she would glance down the street, hoping, waiting. I remember one winter when the snow fell so hard that the streets disappeared. I thought she would stay inside, cosy by the fire, but no. She pulled on her coat, knitted scarf around her neck, and went to the window anyway. She pressed her hands to the glass. I asked her why she didn't just sit by the fire. She said, "I promised him I'd wait. One day he'll walk back." I laughed at first. I didn't think anyone could wait for decades for someone who might never return. But she never laughed. She never complained. Her hope was quiet, steady, unshakable. Years passed. I grew older. I moved away. College, jobs, life. And every time I returned home to visit, she was there. Same chair, same window, same look of patient hope. One evening, I came home early from college and found her asleep in that chair. A small smile on her lips. Her hand was resting on the windowsill, cold and frail. I gently shook her awake. "Grandma, are you okay?" She opened her eyes and whispered, "He's here. I feel him." I didn't understand, but then she pointed to the sky outside the window. Stars. Millions of them. And I realized that maybe she didn't need him in person. Maybe love had become something bigger than life, bigger than time. She passed away a few years later, alone in that small house, in her chair by the window. But I know she never really left. Her love, her devotion, her hope, it lives on in me. Sometimes when I see someone waiting for someone they love, I think of her, of the patience, the quiet strength, the kind of love that doesn't fade. Grandma waited for him every Sunday, and in doing so, she taught me that love isn't about getting, it's about giving, about waiting, about never letting go, even when the world tells you it's time. I carry her lesson with me every day. Love is patient. Love is quiet. Love is eternal.